The stock market crashed today. The S&P 500 dropped about 3.1% as fears of a recession in the US are starting to take hold. The S&P 500 is about 8% off its high that it was just at a few weeks back. But if you're an investor, there's only one question that you should be asking yourself. Who cares? Today, I want to emphasize the point that if you are truly investing, then this market crash isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's an opportunity. Let me explain. My name's Rob, and I'm a recovering gambling addict. I made my last bet on November the 12th of 2022, and now I create content aimed at helping people who are struggling with gambling to find resources and avoid making the same mistakes with your life that I made with mine. I want you to smash that subscribe button if you want to avoid getting addicted to gambling, because that's exactly what's going to happen as you watch this video and any other content that I put out here on my channel. If you are investing in the stock market, then this crash doesn't mean anything to you because all of the losses are unrealized. You would know this if you were investing. But if you're gambling the way that I used to when I traded stocks, then this crash wiped out your trade. It wiped out your investment, and it's not going to come back on this trade. If you try to get the money back at this point, you would be chasing your losses, which is a sign of a gambling addiction. So, what is the difference between investing and gambling? Because it's actually a very thin line between the two. Investing is buying and holding an asset and hoping that over time the market will appreciate in value as it has at a rate of about 6.6% every single year after inflation in the S&P 500. Whereas gambling is trying to make profit fast, trying to double your money, trying to day trade. These things are going to fall into the category of gambling. And gambling is any betting or wagering for self or others, whether for money or not, no matter how slight or insignificant, where the outcome is uncertain or depends upon chance or skill. In the long run, the outcome of the stock market is that stocks go up as long as the government doesn't collapse. But in the short term, it can go up, can go down, anything can happen. And when anything can happen, you're gambling. So yeah, earlier today, before the market opened, the S&P was down a crap ton. Then when it did open, it was down almost 4%. And that is a crazy amount of money when you actually start to think about it. But the truth is, right, like it's going to improve, it's going to get better when you zoom out. When you zoom out, there's all these crashes, but look where we start 5 years ago, right? We're at 288, and today we're at 521. It's really just about riding out the ups and downs. You would have been up 80% if you bought something 5 years ago, whereas today you're down a ton. And where you're really down a ton of money is in the options market. If you look, I mean, you're losing 50, 60, 70, 80, 100% pretty much by the end of this. And this is the kind of trading that I was doing. When you're buying options and they're short dated, I mean, they could even be moderately long dated, you're still probably gambling because so many different factors play into it. And it's not a situation where it's going to go up over time. I remember that I used to trade stocks during events like the FOMC meeting. And when I say stocks, I really mean stock options, right? Because when this guy over here, Jerome Powell, would say something crazy, it would swing the market one way or another. And I was basically just playing a slot machine or roulette in the form of highbrow investing, where one word could literally change my entire investment portfolio's worth. But yeah, things like the Dow going down 800 points, the NASDAQ cratering 3%, these are scary things, and you really don't want to see them regardless of if you're a short term or long term investor. But people who are buying and holding long term, maybe you do want to see it a little bit because now you have an option to buy things 3% cheaper. It's like a sale. But to anyone who's in a situation where they're stressing out, you likely were trading on too short of a time frame. And that's exactly what I used to do. And it's really just gambling. When you're on a short time frame, like look at this. This is crazy. Look at that drop that happened over the course of one weekend. You don't want to be riding the wave of that because that's going to cause a lot of pain in your life. Because even if you're on the right side of this trade, right, you're not going to continuously do that. Eventually, the money's going to get given back. What I like to say here on my channel is that all wins are just future losses because you're never going to be fully satisfied. Now, not everyone that trades in the stock market is addicted to gambling, but this can certainly fuel a gambling addiction. And a lot of times, people will go from betting on sports, saying, "Oh, I don't want to gamble anymore," and going straight to the stock market, where you're just basically doing the same thing in a different font. So I really just urge caution. Recognize if you are gambling or investing. We see people trading on signals and day trading, and the truth is that 99% of day traders lose their money. And I think it was 90% lose it within the first couple of weeks. So just be careful out there. Recognize when something is an investment and when something is a risk that you're taking to try to get rich fast. Because I tried to get rich quick many, many times through all different forms of gambling. And what would always happen is I'd end up burning myself, trying to do it too fast instead of doing it the way that actually works. If you are gambling, all of your wins that you experience will eventually become losses as the odds of what you're doing truly play out. If you are struggling, help is here. Check out this video to learn how I quit gambling, whether it's the stock market, slot machines, sports betting, or poker. Come and check it out today. Let's keep getting better together, one day at a time.